Welcome aboard. The AM show, day number 16, is here in this ninth month of September. We apologize for the late start to the show. Some technical glitches sometimes you can't do anything about. But we're here, we're large and in charge. My name is Benjamin Akakwa and I do this with...
My name is Sweetie Abosh. In a bit, we'll be telling you why this morning the AM show is worth waking up for. Of course, we'll start by serving you the AM news. I'll be anchoring that myself. And then after that, we'll get into the news review segments. Nana Yachapim Jantua, the former General Secretary of the CPP, and Afel Moni, former GJA president, are joining us to review the newspapers. After that, Mubarak Haruna or Muftan Abil Abdullahi will bring you AM Sports, the latest chronicles in the world of sports. After that, we get into our big stories.
Well, in those big stories, first off, we're talking about Drinking with Suspicion, our latest Hotline documentary put together by Richard Kwejo Nyako. And here's the thing. As Galamsey keeps ravaging our water bodies, our rivers, even now the sea, in some instances getting impacted from footage we've seen, the question is, how safe is the water you drink, right? Even those who are buying and consuming sachet water, some will say, oh, it's sachet water, it is pure water, as we call it. But how safe is it? In fact, it is not as safe as you think in some instances. And even the water flowing through your taps is not as safe, looking at the high levels of contamination the Ghana Water Company Limited has to deal with. So this morning, we're delving into that all-important issue, Drinking with Suspicion, that latest Hotline documentary, and what that means for you and for me in terms of our water and our safety.
Well, we'll bring you that documentary and, of course, have a conversation on the back of that. But we'll also bring you a conversation on the surge in teenage pregnancy in Mafiamfoy. Rising teenage pregnancies in that area, in the central Tong district of the Volta region, is causing deep concern among community leaders. We'll tell you the story about Edem and Delight, who are now mothers of a 6-month-old baby, and how they're struggling with poverty and the burden of raising their children. So after the documentary, we also have a conversation on that. Help us put all these in perspective and how we can make headway. Welcome aboard the AM show, folks. I'm sorry that we started late, but let's get right into it with the AM news. Welcome to the program, folks. This is the AM News. Let's get right into the details. Landlords and tenants can now settle accommodation-related issues online without having to be present at the rent control offices. This is being made possible because the operations of the rent control department have gone digital. This initiative seeks to make the department's processes more efficient and effective, reduce costs, and improve productivity. There's more in this report by Adobe Asari.
Rent Control Department under the Works and Housing Ministry, as part of measures to streamline its operations and enhance service delivery, has now gone digital. In the recent past, people used to queue from far and near to resolve rent-related issues, as well as make enquiries on available rooms for rent in parts of Accra. But this situation is set to become a thing of the past because of the digitalization project. Speaking at the launch of the first phase of the digitalization project of the Rent Control Department, Deputy Minister for Works and Housing, Dr. Prince Ahmed Amma, said the initiative will save landlords and tenants from frustrations associated with accommodation issues, as well as help them to reconcile on rent disputes.
The new system will allow, 1, the landlords and tenants to interact with the department online, eliminating the need for in-person visits. Whether you need to register a property, or you want to file a complaint, or resolve a dispute, you will now be able to do so from the comfort of your home or office. Second is automated processes. Will support everything from registering properties to processing complaints, ensuring that every service is delivered efficiently.
On his part, Chief Director of the Works and Housing Ministry, Stephen Yao Osei, said the initiative will bridge the gap between the services of the department and landlords.
The core objectives of the projects are to, number one, automate the routine tasks of streamlining processes with the aim of reducing processing times for rental applications, complaints, and inquiries. It also to enable landlords and tenants to interact with the Rent Control Department from anywhere in the world.
The aim for digitalizing the Rent Control Department is to make renting accommodation accessible, efficient, and responsive.
Former minority leader in Parliament, Haruna Iddrisu, has debunked claims of attempt by some individuals to lay the blame of the Galamsey menace in the country on the doorstep of the former president. He averred that all mineral resources in the country are vested in the hands of the president and therefore found it surprising for people to attempt to lay the blame on former President John Dramani Mahama when he is not the one in charge. Speaking at the campaign launch of the NDC at Hamile in the Lambuisi constituency, he stated that the person to hold on for the Galamsey menace is the President Akufo-Addo. Joy News Upper West Regional Correspondent Rafiq Salam reports.
Though the National Democratic Congress NDC in the Upper West region increased its parliamentary seats from 6 to 8 in the last elections, it ceded the Lamuse parliamentary seat to the New Patriotic Party (NPP), with the party's set goal of Agenda 1111 for the 2024 polls. Former minority leader in Parliament Haruna Iddrisu says the party is bent on winning back the Lamuse parliamentary seat, with former General Secretary of the Ghana Medical Association, Professor Tertius Bayu, leading the charge.
We lost Lamuse in 2020 to disunity. We are recovering it for him in unity. Recovering Lamuse in unity for John Dramani Mahama.
Haruna Iddrisu assured the people that should the NDC be given a nod in the 2024 general elections, they will continue with the rural electrification projects that were abandoned by the NPP for a national cathedral project, which has turned to be a monumental failure.
Even the 900 million they have spent on cathedral can finish all the rural communities in the area here, which has no electricity. Remember that the NDC expanded coverage of electricity to many communities. At the time we left office, it was between 72 and 82%. We will achieve universal access with all the communities here connected to the national grid, with him as your member of parliament.
He then waded into the issue of illegal mining, stating that the hands of John Dramani Mahama are clean, piling the blame on President Akufo-Addo.
Speaking about Galamsey, they forget one important thing. They should read Article 268 of the Constitution well. All mineral resources in Ghana are vested in the president. That president is Nana Akufo-Addo, not John Mahama. If it is not being managed well, if it is managed in a manner which is destructive of our livelihood, we will hold Nana Akufo-Addo solely responsible to it. So they should stop shifting the goalposts, calling John Mahama name. We didn't give John Mahama the power today, the authority and mandate today, to preside over the judicious and optimal utilization of our mineral resources. We gave that power to Nana Akufo-Addo.
He also spoke about football.
Even football today, Ghana cannot host AFCON. That's how bad, how poor the governance of our country has come. We have no stadium which is in the best of state for the purpose of football. Shameful. Nana Dankwa and Bawumia, this is shameful.
The Tamale South legislature concluded by announcing a 25,000 Ghana cedi seed money for the start of an education endowment fund in the name of Professor Tertius Bayu for brilliant but needy students in the constituency. Reporting for Joy News, Rafiq Salam, Hamele.
Let's do some more election stories. Running mate of the New Patriotic Party, Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh, has tagged persons in the Ashanti region who vote for the National Democratic Congress as, quote, nation workers. Speaking to a crowd of NPP supporters during the Menhia South Health Walk in Kumasi, Dr. Prempeh said the NDC has a history of neglecting the Ashanti region and that voting for the party would be a betrayal of the region's interest. Reiterating the NPP's commitment to securing 85% of votes in the region, Dr. Prempeh urged supporters to remain loyal to the party by ensuring victory in the upcoming election. Nana Boakye Adam has more.
The New Patriotic Party's running mate, Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh, and other leading members of the NPP joined the parliamentary candidate for the Menhia South constituency for the Maiden Health Walk, targeted at securing victory for the party. Addressing the crowd, Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh said the 2024 elections remain critical for the NPP. I beg you, after the 2024 election, we won't vote in Ghana again, because after our success, the NPP will win over and over again.
The mother of all about Ghana. NPP Dr. Mahmoudou Bawumia.
He says the NDC has a history of neglecting the Ashanti region and that voting for the party would be a betrayal to the region's interests.
Ashanti region no mugu national health insurance on the computation by and the work as may catch them over Ashanti region now to Obama NDC
Do you remember that a former president refused us development? It is only in the Ashanti region they collapsed the health insurance policy and they brought capitation. You are a nation wrecker if you are in the Ashanti region and vote for the NDC.
Yes, Brajuma, Osionti, Ethiopia. Yes, Bekania, Osionti, Ethiopia. Ose, and Yamuno, and Yanuno, we're digging in I can't Cassa's wedding,
The NPP General Secretary Justin Frimpong Kodria entreated party supporters to campaign vigorously for victory.
Now you're 90% turnout now over 75% voter. The association yes anka
if we don't get over 70% in the Ashanti region, we won't get what we want. If you want development, let's campaign vigorously for victory.
And so for you be interchange the percent in an and yes, a campaign na Dr. Bawumia and Napo and a lawyer Bafo or meeting Kunim.
Nana J. Bafo Ewa is the NPP parliamentary candidate for the Menhia South constituency.
Doctor, almost say
Menhia South remembers your good work, Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh. For Joy News, Nana Boakye Adam, Kumasi.
From Kumasi, let's go to Wa, where Member of Parliament for Wa Central, Dr. Rashid, has assured Ghanaians of the unwavering commitment the NDC has to restore the country to its former glory. Addressing party supporters at the party's campaign launch in the Wa Central constituency, he stated that corruption, nepotism and cronyism, which is the bane of the NPP administration, would be fought tirelessly should the party be given the nod in the December general elections. Joy News Upper West Regional Correspondent Rafiq Salam reports from Wa.
They are back to the stomping grounds. Vetendamba Primary School, 4 years, served as a part where the campaign of the West Central National Democratic Congress, NDC, is always launched. The venue overflows with faithful supporters of the party, clad in the party's colors, who have shown commitment, dedication, and resolve for the party to win the 2024 general elections. Since the return to constitutional rule in 1992, the NDC has won 8 parliamentary elections, half of them launched and won here. The biggest beneficiary being the leader of the Upper West Region's Parliamentary Caucus, Dr. Rashid Hassan Pelpo, who is seeking his 6th term in Parliament. He assured a slew of party supporters of plans by the NDC, led by John Dramani Mahama, to reset Ghana with sea of opportunities for all to better their lives.
The young person who is suffering because he is neglected by this party will get a job to do. The women who are neglected because they are NDC will get jobs to do. We will open a women's bank. We will make sure the student who wants to enter the university for the first time will be able to enter the university with your fees paid. We will make sure that a young person who wants to do business will be trained in entrepreneurial skills and given power and given money to go and do his own job. We will change Ghana. We will reset Ghana. We will make sure Ghana is a different place. We will bring back the dignity Ghana enjoys. We will make sure corruption, nepotism are all gone. They are dead. We will kill them and go free. So we will regain our freedom, and we will rebuild Ghana and reset Ghana under the leadership of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama.
Some of his colleague members of parliament also graced the occasion. Gender activist and renowned journalist Shamima Muslim then goes for the jugular of the MPP, urging the people to vote massive for John Dramani Mahama to reset the country to its values.
We are changing and we are resetting. You cannot upgrade a faulty, collapsed foundation. Nobody can upgrade corruption. Nobody can upgrade nepotism. Nobody can upgrade cronyism. Nobody can upgrade state capture. Nobody can upgrade lies and deceit and wickedness and divisiveness. We can only reset back to our values with the people we know their character. The people who have done it before. The people who have shown us integrity. The people who have shown us accountability. The people who have been with us for the longest period. Come December 7th. So Bulamansu here. A vote for John is a vote for women, women inclusion, women empowerment, disability inclusion, children protection, the elderly protection. A vote for John and Jane is a vote to change this country back to winning ways.
Upper West Region Chairman of the NDC, Abdul Nasser Sani, popularly known as Chairman Bonas, outlined the job opportunities that the NDC intends to roll out should they be given a nod in the December polls. In between the speeches were performances from local musicians, namely Prince Kareem, Gali, and Records, which erupted the crowd into frenzy. Reporting for J News, Rafiq Salam. Wow.
Away from our election headquarters, quality health service delivery in Seche Central District of the Ashanti region is hampered by inadequate health staff and medical equipment. The District Health Directorate says poor roads and transport services are among the challenges of the area. There's more in this report.
The Seche Central District comprises 5 sub-communities: Nsuta, Kwamai, Brim, Oku, and Esubuaso. The District Health Director, Susanna Nkrumah, says these communities face significant transportation and road network challenges resulting in limited access to essential healthcare services. The district is faced with the challenge of staff shortage, partly due to accommodation challenges and the long commuting time between communities. The District Health is asking the government to help address the challenges.
So we have 5 sub-districts in the entire district. One is in Suta, Kwamai, Brim, Oku, and Esubuasu. Oku and Esubuasu are the far left, closer to Ejura. So the 3 sub-districts serve the entire district. So in short, because they are widely spread, most of our communities in the district are deprived of, they are cut off because there are transportation challenges, road networks and other things. Most of them can't access health service.
Communications officer of Fantasy Club, Yawapia, says the group is committed to making a positive impact and improving the lives of underprivileged communities in Ghana.
So Fantasy Club of Dedluma has one objective: to touch lives positively, to make sure that Ghanaians do benefit from the impact and the benefits of Daddy Lumbe's image and his brand. So we decided to put up this clinic so that the people of Amangwase can benefit from it. From here, we plan to do other stuff to make sure that Ghana as a whole will benefit from his image and then his brand. We would want to entreat the District Health Directorate to take good care of the project that we've done. It really cost us a lot of money, around 6 billion old Ghana cedis, that is 600,000 Ghana cedis. We wouldn't want to leave it here and then by the time we come back it's in a bad state.
Coming up next is Business Update.
It's time now for our business updates. In our first story, the General Agricultural Workers Union is calling for more innovation and a novel approach in enforcing the ban of export of grains. Their concern follows reports of maize vendors in the Ashanti region struggling to access the grain from farming communities as they compete with foreign nationals on the local market, despite government's ban on the exports of maize and other essential cereals. General Secretary of the General Agricultural Workers Union, Edward Karewe, tells Joy Business government must take pragmatic steps to ensure the ban is adhered to, else the existing challenges would escalate.
Once food is produced, it takes a long time before you produce another one because there's a gestation period. And more importantly, because, or more so, because we depend on the rain-fed agriculture, up to over 90% of our food production, is to say that when the rains are not there, you cannot cultivate, you cannot produce. So this will certainly aggravate our situation. But that is also the reason why we must find some more innovative ways of, novel ways of dealing with these shortages rather than complying or adhering to the long-term old-age approach of banning. Now, why would farmers want to sell to foreigners? It means the price is low. Is there any pricing or marketing mechanism whereby farmers can break even or farmers' produce can be channeled to a particular area, market center? We don't have that in Ghana. Farmers are left on their own to market their goods. So they will sell to anybody who gives them the highest price.
Now, the managing partner at Chanzo Capital, Eric Osiakwan, is calling for broader consultation on the regulation of digital currencies, such as cryptocurrencies. His comments come on the back of the Securities and Exchange Commission's indication to build a regulatory framework on cryptocurrencies and other electronic currencies. Now, speaking on Business Live, he explained that involving all relevant stakeholders would assist the Commission to appreciate the contest and help shape a policy to aid innovation and adoption.
In one sense, you could say that because, people are already doubling lots, and one of the main elements is sort of moving money across borders. People are using it in ways to move money. But like I said, the advantage, the pros to that is that it's allowing for innovation. For people to think about interesting ways to use cryptocurrencies, to solve challenges of moving currency, sort of hedging against currency volatility, hedging against Forex and all that stuff. So there is sort of a pros to it, a cons to it that people could be taken advantage of. And then we have seen people, there's people who lost money going into it blindly. So yes, I think that time is of the essence. But also the important thing is that the SEC needs to really consult widely with the stakeholders involved. So this kind of consultation should not be limited to very few stakeholders, because you want to have the buy-in of the community, and you want to have frameworks for regulation that are widely takes wide entire positions of the various actors into consideration. So the question would be, how wide is the consultation? How deep it is? What are the issues that are emerging? And thirdly, it's important to also understand the local context or the Pan-African context of how these cryptocurrencies are being used, because context matters a lot in these things.
Well, that's it for our business updates. Handing over back to Sweetie. How about you?
Well, that's how we're wrapping up for the AM News Bulletin on the AM Show. Now the conversations begin, starting with a news review segment, and we will be joined by Nanaya Chapim Jantua and Roland Afelmoni. Nanaya is former General Secretary of the CPP, and Afelmoni is former GJA President. You want to stay with us for that? Welcome aboard, folks. This is the news review segment. My guest in the studio with me this morning is first Nanaya Chapim Jantua, the former General Secretary of the CPP, and Mr. Afelmoni, the former GJA President. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's quickly get into your thoughts before we get into the newspapers. Mr. Moni, what's been on your mind?
Let me seize the opportunity to sprinkle a good dance of commendation on the media titans who are playing a frontal role in the fight against Galamsey.
Yeah.
They have given up ownership of their lives in their fight against Galamsey, because it is the most risky venture to undertake. But for love of country and the future of this country, they have decided to maintain the fight, come what may. At the time when we were teetering on the brink of a disaster of unimaginable proportions, the most minuscule of actions was to deploy our men in uniform, our soldiers and police personnel, to move in with all ferocity and intensity to halt Galamsey. Unfortunately, complicity and duplicity in high political circles stopped the nation from acting until recently, last week, exactly when a 5-member committee was formed, chaired by National Security Minister Kandapa. Yeah. I know Kan is a brother. He is not a talkative by definition, but a doer by disposition. So we expect him to act. Otherwise, the committee, the present generation of people and leaders will stand condemned at the bar of history for letting this nation down monumentally. This is my take.
Thank you so much. And we've seen that some military personnel have clamped down on some Galamsey sites and some excavators are being burnt. But I keep asking myself, is that enough? Is that all it takes? Let me get into Nanaya Chapim Jantua's thoughts.
They are burning.
They burnt about 3 or so excavators. Yeah.
Excavators are meant to be evidential, because when you burn it, you should know who owns it, and that will be a source of arrest. So if you burn it, it means you are burying evidence. But what is on my mind? My senior has spoken very well on the issue of Galamsey. I know Honorable Kandapa is a doer, but will the system let him do?
Okay.
That is what we have to look at. Will the system allow him?
$1 billion question.
Do you get me? So I mean, that is it. But I mean, what's on my mind is this audit of the register. And I believe it should be done. I don't know why anybody should resist it. A forensic audit is a forensic audit.
No, EC says it's premature.
No, whether premature or not, we want it. We want to know what is inside. Do you get me? There's nothing. Why do you resist it? If somebody suspects that something has gone wrong and they put you through a forensic audit, there's financial forensic audits. At the end of the day, it will prove whether you've done wrong or not. So I don't see why they should say it's premature.
Yeah.
The register belongs to us. It's ours. A certain political party has raised concerns. And once they have raised concerns, whether legitimate or not, you need to look into it.
I mean, it's gone past a certain political party now. A lot of CSOs, I remember CDD fellow, Dr. Sai Kwapong, and none other stalwarts have called for a forensic audit. I mean, trust but verify. It does the EC no harm. Sorry I took the words out of your mouth, but it does the EC no harm.
That is what I'm saying. I mean,
you say that, okay, we get your concerns, but to prove that we have nothing to hide, to prove that this register is credible, here, let's conduct
So
a
how long does
audit.
it take to do a forensic audit, especially...
But they claim that there's no justification whatsoever because all the mistakes have been corrected.
That is not the point. It has been corrected in their view. Ghana is saying that to do this, open it up, let's see what is inside. Period. Granted that these mistakes were not found out, it would have passed.
Yeah, well.
The transfers from one area to the other. All the names, that bloated names in the register, it would have been left there. Now it has been found. I asked the question, are they sure that every single name has been removed from the register? You cannot say. So let an independent body do a forensic of it. An audit was done in 2016. How many years ago? 8 years ago. Let's do another one. And let's see what is in there. And everybody will be satisfied. So once this thing is done, everything is clean, and somebody wins the election, nobody can complain.
Right.
Because we need to keep this country intact. The thermometer, the temperature the thermometer is measuring is hot.
Yeah.
And
It's really charged.
Yes. And we don't need that.
It's escalating by the minute.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
I mean, the NDC too is set to go on that demonstration.
Tomorrow.
Perhaps that would encourage the EC
Well, for a
to
demonstration
listen
in Ghana is good. But there's another way that will encourage people to do it.
Which is?
If there are strikes, that is the only way Ghanaians, the government listens to. Look at the hotel. Immediately there was a shutdown. There was a fear of a shutdown. They rescinded their decision.
Right.
Demonstration, Kenya has the key, not Ghana, but we still go.
But it's still a step in the
Yes, we will still go.
I don't know if it's the right direction, but it's a step. You know that
No, it is in the right direction.
Yeah.
I mean, it shows that we want to do something. We are all going.
Okay, let's get into the newspapers. I'll start with the Ghanaian Times. On the front page, President inaugurates Jamestown Fishing Harbour in Accra. Ghana ranked Tier 1 in 2024, joins role model status with 46 other countries worldwide, becomes benchmark for other nations. And there's a photo here that is on the latest ITU Global Cybersecurity Index. And the picture of the Minister for Communications is there. On combating illegal mining, stay away from Galamsey. Chinese ambassador admonishes compatriots. Yes, thank you. Outcome of China-African Forum. China earmarks $50 billion financial support for Africa in the next 3 years. And this, when I caught wind of this, I think last week or last 2 weeks, I was asking myself, and what are we giving them in return? I mean, but let's get into the stories. Let me start from the story of combating illegal mining, because that's what we started with. And the story is on page 13 of the Ghanaian Times newspaper, and it reads, the Chinese ambassador to Ghana, Mr. Tong Defa, has asked Chinese residents in Ghana to stay away from illegal mining activities in the country, popularly known as Galamsey. He also urged the Ghanaian government to deal with Chinese nationals engaged in illegal mining activities to serve as a deterrent to others. And I think that's where I just want to end. If the ambassador is saying that, go ahead, Ghana, when you catch Chinese nationals on Galamsey sites, deal with them, I think it's laudable. There was a time, I think, during John Mahama's era where there was a bit of friction between Chinese and Ghana because of the way we were clamping down on illegal mining activities. So if the ambassador is saying we should deal with them, I think that's a thumbs up. But let me come to you for your thoughts, Mr. Moni.
I'm inclined to believe that this is not a mere diplomatic talk. because there are instances, two copious to mention, where the Chinese government had kicked against even the publication of the photos of Chinese involved in Galamsey. And, you know, it's because economically, so to speak, our hands is in the mouth of the Chinese.
Yeah. So
they dictate it to us. So it was very difficult to deal with this medicine. And former senior minister, I knew that we were expecting, dealing with them drastically will block our chances of gaining financial assistance from the Chinese. But it's one thing admonishing the Chinese national not to get involved in Galamsey, and then mastering the courage as a nation to deal surgically with the Chinese involved in Galamsey. Let's see what the Kandapara Committee will do.
Okay.
But eyes are watching, history is watching. If you fail, then the results will just be incalculable.
In the back of my head, I keep saying to myself that maybe, and this is just my opinion, maybe the NPP was in a comfortable lead until this Galamsey thing, you know, until media men, you know, like you said, decided to wage war on this menace that is eating. I like to say it's a very cancer eating at the fiber of this nation and our development trajectory. So if this government doesn't actually surgically deal with this thing head on, it would really impact their successes and fortunes going forward. But Anaya.
Streety, what did you say?
I'm saying
that they were in comfortable lead where?
My opinion.
That's her
I think that
what polls have you done?
The polls that are coming.
That's her opinion.
That's just saying that
she's fully entitled.
Thank you.
don't encourage her to be saying
I'm saying that I think that until this blew up, they seem comfortable. When you listen to some of the things they were saying, their rhetoric, they weren't saying that, please vote for us. They were saying, we are going to break the 8. We are winning 85%. We are not handing over power. And that confidence was coming from somewhere. And then this happens, Galamsey, and then you hear them now, and it's, we will do something about it, and please do. Now it's more of an appeal to the Ghanaian people to vote for them, as compared to previous times when it was, we are winning by hook or crook, we are winning, we are gaining,
but
you know. So I'm just saying
they haven't stopped saying that they
haven't, But let me
they have draped the whole of Accra in their colors. Everywhere you go.
That's a campaign strategy.
National arenas, that should be draped with a Ghana flag. Liberation Circle. It should be draped with Ghana flag, not any party colors.
No, but the season is right.
No, but you have to go off certain places. National Liberation Circle, that circle there is national.
And I believe the city authorities permitted that. For a fee, you know, they charge.
Please, I beg you. There are things that are Ghanaian, and we need to start seeing what is Ghana and what is...
This isn't the first time we're seeing this.
They'll
clad the entire... I mean, everywhere. It's even outside.
Outside,
That's everywhere. You see NDC colors, NPP colors, flags hanging all over.
I want to say that if NDC did it, was wrong. Do you get me? It is like draping a national place. It's not a place doesn't come to mind in central London where this man's bust is, Mandela. It is a national place. Did you get me? There are places which are national, and you don't have to politicize it.
But AMA might have permitted that.
Oh, but AMA will permit it. It doesn't mean it's right.
Okay,
so the point is that the Chinese ambassador, he has said it. But what is on the ground? Who is aiding the Chinese? You see, the Chinese come into this country with a visa. When they get to the airport, you'll be asked what you are coming to do. Who finds them accommodation and who takes them to the sites? Do you understand? So it's the collaboration between us destroying our nation and the Chinese. And these days, you see, after even Aisha One was deported, she was not jailed. Everybody says she's a campaign for Galamsey, but she was deported back into the comfort of her home. Who even knows that if she's back? Because Aisha One had a Ghana card, not a non-citizen Ghana card. She had both. She entered this country, nobody saw it. So who is collaborating with whom? Because I'm saying that the people who come in, they come with visas. So if our embassy in China knows that these Chinese people are coming to this country to do this galamsey, why do they allow them in? Because when you fill your form for a visa, you are asked what you are going to do in the country. When you get here, you are asked what you are coming to do, how much money is on you. So if all our processes are working, you can't just enter China and do it anyhow.
Okay.
Sweetie, I'm telling you, I went to China once, and they have a temperature, a thermometer at this thing. It measures your temperature.
Yeah.
I entered and my temperature was up because we were traveling long distance. You know, China is far. And they were not going to allow me. And because it was like a national thing that we were going to do from another country, they gave me paracetamol till my temperature went down fast. Yes. So I'm saying that there are rules of engagement when it comes to entering somebody's country. So he has just said it.
Let's see how it
But what is on the ground?
Yeah, let's see how it goes.
Yes.
So let me
Sweetie, to chip in something short. Fourth Estate did a compelling story which indicated that most of the Chinese who are supposed to be in jail are not there.
Yeah.
This is something we ought to follow up.
Yes.
And see when we are playing games with even our judicial system.
Yeah. Where are they?
Where are they? That's
and all the names that even came out from that documentary, people we saw in government who are mining on water bodies in forest reserves. The names are there now, but what is being done about it?
And you are burning excavator.
Let's move on. Now, the EC says they are working to address the concerns of the NDC, and this is still the Ghanaian Times on page 10. We are working to address your concerns, the EC tells the NDC. The Electoral Commission says it is working assiduously to address concerns of the opposition National Democratic Congress and other stakeholders to deliver a credible register for this year's presidential and parliamentary elections. Deputy Commissioner of Operations, Samuel Tete, said the election management body should be trusted to address the discrepancies identified by the NDC as it has done over the years. Quote, the Commission would like to assure the general public and all stakeholders that all identified discrepancies about the provisional voters register are being corrected. To date, the register is almost near perfect as most of the discrepancies have fully been resolved. EC, we get you. All we are saying is show us. Trust but verify, you know. Yes, we get that you're working to do all this, but let us see for ourselves. I mean, it's, if nothing at all, it inspires confidence and trust in this commission that is supposed to be independent of any political influence. It's an institution that cannot operate without the confidence of the populace. You know, you need you need Ghanaians to be 100% confident that you will deliver free, fair, credible elections. So if I'm, as an individual, I'm adding my voice to it. Let's see what you have corrected. Anyway, let me throw this to you, Mr. Moni.
The political parties are the building blocks of democracy. In a multi-party environment such as ours, democracy would be useless without the political parties. And you mentioned the issue of trust between the need for trust, the need to build bridges of trust between the EC and the political parties.
Yeah.
So we don't need any superfluity of evidence to state that the trust deficit between the EC and the main opposition party is definitely huge, so definitely loud. So we need to look at it. Ibi Chambers made this point at the weekend that it's not too late for the EC and the NDC to attempt to at least to reduce drastically the mistrust between them. Because trust is a key ingredient in elections. When there's mistrust, this can spell violence, and violence, once it starts, no one can tell where it will end. So EC, let me amplify what the call made by Dr. Chambers, that it's not too late for the EC and the NDC to at least sit down and build some trust. Of course, EC has a mandate backed by the Constitution to operate within the confines of the law.
Yeah.
The NDC should not overstep the boundaries of their demands. While the EC should also listen. The EC should have a listening ear to calls, proposals, requests, and suggestions by the political parties. Because, as the saying goes, no one institution is perfect. That perfection in every human institution is an impossible goal. So EC has its fair share of imperfections. So it will take outsiders, it will take objective observers like Ebi Chambers and others to underline the need for building bridges of trust, right, so that all the parties go to the polls and then our ballot will speak. And once it speaks, that should be it.
No institution is perfect. In the White House, Mr. Samuel Tetteh, he says that the voter register is near perfect. I like that. He said it's near perfect. So not perfect, but near perfect. And they're working towards it. Nanaya.
You see, Sweetie, if I didn't hear Dr. Eben Chambers, he's a very revered and renowned person. But if he reduces the issue between EC and NDC, it is unfortunate. This issue is not about EC and NDC. This is about Ghana, EC, and the integrity, the peace of Ghana. So if the NDC is the party that maybe has the wherewithal or the capacity to interrogate what is in the register, then it doesn't mean that it is a fight between the two.
Yeah.
It is about Ghana. And all political parties, I do not know why we are quiet, because it affects all of us. Every single political party that is on the ballot, including the independents, it affects us. Because everybody wants to be president. That is why we have paid 100,000, which is no small money.
Some of them are actually very vocal, and they're backing the call for I know that Alan's team, for example, have added their voice in demanding.
So, Sweetie,
it appears that, well, let me not
but
say
the ruling party holds a contrary view, which is aligned with that of the EC. And this is a pattern.
If the ruling government holds a contrary view, they will certainly hold the contrary view, because for them it is good for. They cannot hold the contrary view. If they love this nation, it is not about them. They should they should lead the forensic audit. Why do you hold the contrary view? It has been recognized that there is some anomaly in the register. Do you get me? And I believe that they didn't just use plain eyes. Some kind of technology has gone into it, because all political parties are given the register. Yeah. And if you don't have that kind of technology, you might not be able to identify the pardon. So you see, the ruling party has no view. It is a responsibility for them to agree to do an audit. Because if they are also going to stand, then you see, we have gone through elections after elections. Do you get me? And parties have come to power, parties have gone. If there's some pardon, it is possible that it has been there for some time. So it is even in the interest of the ruling party to agree to an audit. I mean, I do not know why. Look, when ECG were having issues with electricity, money, and everything, the financials in the ECG, they agreed to an audit. And issues came out and they responded to the issues. Why do we do an audit at the end of every year in an organization? To see how you have spent your money, to be accountable, to tell us how you spend government. So we are saying that we have found these things. On your own, let's assume that the NDC didn't find it. We're going to go with the register. So if you don't have the capacity to find it and somebody has found it, how then can you tell me as a voter that you can, make the register good? And for the ruling party, they shouldn't even speak. They are the people who should even champion and say that we are going for the audit. If there is nothing in it that benefits them, is going to benefit them at the end of the day, then they themselves should agree that we are forming an independent commission or committee.
Okay.
But another question is whether a forensic audit will affect the timetable for the election. I know that.
I don't think so.
If it would, it would be included in their reasons for saying that it's premature. Their reasons, it will be part of their defense as to why they're refusing. But since it's not come up, I'm tempted to say maybe it's not. It will not actually affect it.
No, now that Uncle has said they will add it to their reasons.
Let me quickly run through the rest of the stories here, and then I'll come to you. Red meat is linked to a higher risk of death and heart disease. Grab a copy of the Ghanaian Times and read that for yourself. On building professional resilience, adapting to new learning environments. President inaugurates Jamestown Fishing Harbour in Accra. And this China earmarks $50 billion financial support for Africa in the next 3 years is also here. On the back page, Smartex draw with Raja and Suatriman lose to CS Constantine in CAF Interclub competitions, and Lions devour Hearts at Bando. These and other stories coming from the Ghanaian Times newspaper. Let's get into your paper, Mr. Money. And that's the
New Finder, and the New Finder leads with Galamsey. We risk losing $15 million inflows and collapse of vegetable export markets. And it has it has an editorial on the same Galamsey fight. Wow. And the capsule of this editorial is that the fight against Galamsey is not just about environmental conservation. It is an economic necessity, immediate and decisive action to protect livelihoods, ensure food security, and safeguard Ghana's place in international markets.
Yeah.
This is what the New Finder is saying. And well said, well cut editorial.
Any other story?
Point well articulated.
Yeah.
We also have the $60 million Jamestown, $60 million Jamestown Fishing Harbour set to boost industry. And Lakeside Estate unveils Ghana's largest water park.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nanaya, any quick reflections, and then we get to your paper.
Okay.
Oh, no, yeah.
From me.
For you, yeah.
Okay. Should I talk
Yes,
about what?
yes,
Okay.
yes.
Oh, Uncle has Akufo-Addo opened $60 million Jamestown fishing. This is a good thing. I mean, it's a fishing. Yes. I think this one has to be commended. I hope,
highly.
Yes, I hope Galamsey is not going to affect fishing, because you see the rivers seeping into the sea. I mean, from the western region. And it's a good thing, and I think it should be utilized properly. And I mean, that one is not bad. It's part of our development. They said DC, His Excellency Mahama said DC can't rig elections in Ghana. That was in 2016. It is a different group of
And why are they bringing back that now?
Because this is, they put it in as if it is now.
Now, yeah,
that's 2016 that he said it. It was a different person, a different group of people, and we didn't find all this. Even at that time, the opposition MPP asked for an audit, and it was done. We have YEA partners, GIZ, to empower people living with disabilities. That is also a good one. We normally neglect the people living with disabilities, and I believe. And Honorable Fatima Abubakar is talking about ethical reporting, and I do agree with her that this election we should be careful the words that we use as journalists in reporting issues regarding the polls. So I think she's spoken well, and we should take a cue from it. Okay. I mean, in the Jospon Group, FEMA Industries to drive development in Africa is a good one. A Ghanaian company and a foreign one, I mean, coming together as a joint venture. I normally don't like the foreign ones coming together. We have a kidney and liver issue here, talking about persistent terrorism of Galamsey.
Okay.
On and on and on.
I want to get back to this story because I found it again on the Ghanaian Publisher, the story about Ghana's cybersecurity gaining global recognition with Tier 1 status. So let's quickly get into it. So Ghana has been ranked among the top countries globally for cybersecurity development, earning a Tier 1 status in the latest Global Cybersecurity Index released by the International Telecommunication Union. And this prestigious ranking places Ghana in the role modeling category, signifying its leadership in cybersecurity practices. With a score over 99.27%, Ghana is the second highest ranking country in Africa, following Mauritius, and one of only 5 African nations in Tier 1 globally. I think this is very interesting. I didn't know that we were ranked such high so highly in terms of cybersecurity. Meanwhile, day in day out, people are taking our monies online.
That's
frauding. I don't know how this actually reflects in our daily experiences online. So that's why I wanted to get into it. We second highest.
How
okay,
can
congratulations. But Mr. Money, what do you think about this?
Highly commendable. And when my phone was hacked into, I contacted the cybersecurity boss.
Okay.
And he responded to my call with alacrity and had the issue resolved. So commendation to him. We have the men, so to speak, not only in politics, but also in cybersecurity. And this has been shot up our profile as a nation. And as I said, we need to deploy, they need to deploy their men to areas where citizens are duped. And I know a church member who has been forced to close down his mobile money vending shop because of fraud. So we need to tackle this fraud with all seriousness and intensity.
Every once in a while, I get a call. Hello, auntie. Hey, me, oh, sister. You don't know the person, but a strange number calls you, an actor, say they're familiar with you, and they want to ask you to send them money. Or you are on Instagram and you see all these fake accounts selling wigs and stuff, and they'll just take your money. I don't know who is actually checking these people, but like I said earlier, congratulations. You're ranking this high.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying that let's reconcile this level of, this status of elevation to what our actual experiences are on the internet daily, in our day-to-day activities online. Nanaya.
So if you are second, why do we have all these fraudsters around? And sometimes it is even difficult for you. You see an item on online, and it makes online shopping very difficult because you are not too sure who is doing what. So if we are ranked that high, why do we have all this hacking of our phones, hacking into our mobile, money, all manner of things, internet fraud? So if you are second, these things should be minimized. Because you see, if you're on a platform, some of these WhatsApp platforms, a message comes up and it's often that my phone has been hacked. Somebody is using my account to do ABCD. So can you delete my number? Do you understand?
Yeah.
So if we are ranked this high, how come? And we have a cybersecurity associate an institution.
Yeah, we have an institution.
And the institution is ranked high or Ghana. If we have an institution,
an authority,
then we need to,
led by Albert Nchibosia.
Let's interrogate further what goes into the ranking, because when we are doing ranking, so many things go into ranking. So we in their defense, it's a global ranking. It's not like just for Africa. Maybe there are certain elements that they were looking out for that they found. Sometimes they even look at your staff. They look at the building in which you are, your systems. But does it mean they are really working?
Right.
Do you get me?
I get you.
Sometimes they don't come down to get data, actual data on what is happening on the ground. But they look at your setup. If it fits into a cybersecurity commission, and that everything has been set up properly.
So the key factors behind Ghana's success as a cybersecurity leader are attributed to several initiatives, and these include Cybersecurity Act 2020. Ghana's cybersecurity law remains the benchmark. So it's the systems we have in place.
That's what I'm saying.
And not the actual experiences that we have.
These are systems.
Then there's the establishments and the professionals. Ghana is the second country in the world to implement this industry protocol. Protection of critical information infrastructure. The CSA has been safeguarding Ghana's critical systems, essential to the digital economy, with the responsibility of including developing and operationalizing a risk management framework. So it's the systems and the framework that we have.
It is the system. So, some of these rankings, they look at what kind of system you have in place. It does not translate into work. Do you get it? It does not translate.
So the gap is the implementation of these systems and these frameworks.
For instance, Uncle here is former president of GJ. He's with like the head of all of us, journalists. He loses something, somebody hacks into his phone. If he calls, it is prompt attention. This is the person who commands all of us. Do you get me? So me, ordinary me, Nanaya, if I go there, nobody will even look at my face.
Nana, you're not ordinary. That's how you're wrapping up. You're not ordinary, Nana. Former General Secretary.
Nana has never been ordinary.
You've never been ordinary in your life.
I beg you. So you see, I'm right. That's systems.
Yeah.
they look at when these rankings, especially the global ones, they look at the systems that you have put in place. If it fits what a cybersecurity institution would be, then you are ranked high. Okay. But are they really working?
Are they really working? Give me a wrap of your thoughts, Mr. Moyo.
Maybe this is an angle for follow-up by the media, and to match their ranking with their effectiveness on the ground.
Yeah.
So this is something we can take up as a media system.
Okay.
The countdown is well and truly on. 80-something days more for
82 or 3.
When
elections.
Okay. His Excellency the Vice President, Dr. Bawumia, and former President Mahama will have a date with destiny. And may the best win. That is.
I like the construction of your sentence. You have a date with destiny.
No, but the two of them are not the only people on the ballot paper.
Yeah.
So I don't
realistically, it's a two-horse race.
It is not a two-horse race.
It's a two-horse
There's Alan Chiamatin. There is my flag bearer, Nana Frimpong. Why are you laughing?
I haven't said anything.
No, he's laughing. I don't know why. And there's
but we have
Mahama.
to go.
We are saying realistically.
No, but realistically, anyone, this for me, my flag bearer will win. For me.
And then who are you voting for? Are you voting for your flag bearer?
Yes, of course. Why not? Once we have a flag bearer, I'll vote for my flag bearer.
So why have you not returned to the party?
Do I have to return?
You were former general secretary. They need you. They need you.
But you added the name former. So former means I'm former.
So that's there's Nanaya Chefim Janswa, the former general secretary of the CPP. We're also joined by Mr. Afelmoni, former GJA president, and they helped us review the newspapers and the stories in there that resonate with you and I. Stay tuned because sports is coming up next.
Time now to bring you sports here on the AM show with me, Muftau Nabila Abdullahi. Ghana Premier League champions Samatex, they were held to a 2-all stalemate by Raja Casablanca in their second preliminary round of the CAF Champions League at the Accra Sports Stadium. It was the Moroccans before the Ghanaians came from behind to take a 2-1 lead before half-time. But in the second half, the Moroccans were able to draw parity as the game ended. Head coach of the team, Amadou Nuruddin, says that his boys did not disgrace themselves and is hoping that when they go to Morocco in a fortnight, they will stand a chance of qualifying to the next phase of the competition. My colleague Razak Musbawa was there and has more in this report.
Following their impressive triumph against Cameroon's Victoria United in the first preliminary round, Ghanaian champion Samatex graced the Accra Sports Stadium full of confidence for their clash against three-time champions Raja Club Athletic. Open the scoring in the 20th minute, the visitors broke the deadlock when Mohamed Zrida capitalized on a well-delivered corner, heading the ball past goalkeeper Kofi Ba.
Buzak delivers. There's a flick on and Raja have opened the scoring at the Accra Sports Stadium. Samatex, the Ghanaian champions, have been pegged back on home soil.
Despite conceding first, Samatex remained undeterred and found the equalizer in the 37th minute through a spectacular acrobatic effort from Francis Jetua.
Ebenezer Akwa for the Ghanaian champions swings in the ball. That's a bicycle kick. It's a beautiful goal. Samatex have equalized in fantastic fashion. It's disastrous on the part of the goalkeeper, but it's the centre-back Aqua combining with the centre-forward Jetua to produce that moment of magic.
Buoyed by the equalizer, the Timber Giants continued their pressure, which paid off just before halftime. Striker Michael Efson pounced and rebound from a long-range shot by left-back Isaac Affo, giving his side the lead.
Here's Affo with a drive from a distance, and Samatex have the second goal. Efson puts Samatex ahead with 2 more minutes to the break.
Raja Club Athletic, showing the experience and class, responded in the 68th minute with a well-worked attack finished by Mohamed Boulaskout, sending the few traveling Moroccan fans into a frenzy.
They're trying to double up into the area of Samatex. A chance for Raja. Can they get the equalizer? And what a beautiful finish. Raja are back in business.
Despite several attempts from both sides to find a winner, the match ended in a 2-2 draw, leaving the tie wide open. Ahead, Samatex head coach Nuruddin Amadou expressed satisfaction with the result, but lamented the injuries to key players and his team's lack of experience as they are making their debut in the competition.
After winning last season's championship league, we've lost 3 of our key players. They have their players intact, and 3 of their players, they have contributed about more than 20 goals of the goals that they scored. And so they are very experienced and they have quality. But all the same, I think that we did our best, but our ball was not enough. And so, but hopefully we'll give them a good match. They also didn't think that we could give them such a match because they underrated us. And so I think that we need to work very hard, and we'll going forward, we will not disgrace ourselves there, looking at how they played.
Meanwhile, Raja's coach, Visco Rasme, criticized the condition of the Accra Sports Stadium pitch, claiming it hindered his side's ability to secure a win.
No, I must not be happy. I'm not happy. I'm happy because we don't lose the game, but normal we must win this game. Of this field where we play is not possible to play, but how we play today, I say congratulations, that is big win for my team. And because of that I'm proud of this young. But how he play and where we play of this field, very difficult, very difficult.
But for fans of the Samre Boy Base club, they remain confident of their team's chances of making history, advancing to the group stages of the CAF Champions League.
It's their first time in such a league, but they have proved themselves. We are hoping that the return match, they can do more than they have done right now. That's our hope right now. But success, we are always winning, no matter what. Yeah.
But we could have won. No, we were playing home. We could have won, but we see to the next game.
Are you confident that they can get a win in Morocco?
Of course. It is football, you know, anything can happen. So we are just hoping for it. Yeah.
Now, FC Samatex will now have to be in Morocco come next week Saturday for the second leg, needing a win. They must win to guarantee any chance of advancing to the group stage of the CAF Champions League. It's expected to be a very tough game against Raja Casablanca at home, a ground that you hardly hear of them losing games, especially in the CAF Champions League. But for FC Samatex, despite the results here at the Accra Sports Stadium, they are very confident that they can go all the way to Morocco and upset Raja. For Joy Sports, my name is Razak Musbah.
And let's go back to the same Accra Sports Stadium where Ghana FA Cup champions in Short-Remand, they come up against Constantine in the CAF Confederation Cup and suffered a 2-0 loss.
Brahim Dip, the captain of the side, from old. Game underway at the Accra Sports Stadium in Short-Remand gets us going. Here's Idris Shaibu. He wants to switch to Aqua, and Aqua controls it down the right side. Aqua brings it to Maida, all at the expense of Isaka. Bencha goes past Isaka once again. Chance for Constantine, and they've hit the back of the net. In 10 minutes, the Algerians have jumped into the lead at the Accra Sports Stadium. How did the defenders of Short-Remand allow him that room to operate in that solo manner to hit the ball at the back of the net?
Such a cheap goal to give away, and Isaka should be doing better on that occasion. That one-on-one situation and allowing Becha to just go past him with so much ease.
DU does want to stop Medai. He can get to Shaibu. And Medai has got space in front of him, the right back. He goes to the goal scorer who drives one, and it's a brilliant finish. Magnificent goal by Zakaria Bencha. What a finish. Glorious goal for Constantine to double their lead at the Accra Sports Stadium. That is awesome from Bencha. He's double on the day, and two is in Short-Remand.
Two world-class goals, and the very first time we see Medai move forward, he creates something. But just look at that, enough space, no one closing in on him. And all he had to do was just strike that once with some venom. past Afaju. But it was sloppy play in midfield from his Watchman. Not the best of link-up plays again. And just look at that from Ben Chap. Lovely.
On September 10, the Confederation of African Football withdrew the license handed to Ghana to be able to host international senior matches at the Baba Yara Sports Stadium. Well, Joy Sports decided to get in touch with FIFA to ask questions because the Ghana Football Association, per information given to us by FIFA, indicated that the football governing body in Ghana received in excess of $260,000 to be able to maintain natural grass pitches in Ghana. We were made to understand that the Ghana Football Association, in their justification to FIFA, had said that the money was meant for Premier League, Division 1 League, and Women's Premier League venues. However, considering the fact that the Confederation of African Football prohibited the use of the Baba Yara Sports Stadium, the Cape Coast and Accra Sports Stadium from hosting international matches, Joy Sports wanted clarity as to why money has been handed to the Ghana Football Association for the maintenance of 80 natural grass pitches in Ghana, of which the Accra, Cape Coast and Baba Yara Sports Stadium are all part of Ghana Premier League Division 1 and Women's Premier League venues. However, the email from FIFA indicated that the money was meant for the construction of boreholes and setting up of tanks to be able to maintain the grass pitches to meet international standards. That is the explanation that came from World Football Governing Body, FIFA. To Ghana Premier League, where Accra Heart of Oak suffered a 2-0 loss at the hands of Heart of Lions.
Speed. He's the only player to play for the Phobians that is on the turf at the moment. Question Paul and my goodness, here is some up in it. Has rewarded the effort of Coach Bashu effort. And guess who's orchestrator? Kwame Opo is the man. What the pass? Look at the inside pass, look at the touch, look at the finesse, and look at the finish. Absolutely sublime. Benjamin Yakubu. Could this be Lion second? A lot of time wasting. Oh, lovely back flick. Aldo. Aldo, go for the... Oh my goodness! Ismail Aldo with a for the Hearts of Lions at the dying enders of the game. What a touch! What a hit from outside the 18 yard, and what a salute to the fans. Lions in full charge here. What an atmosphere. Just look at it. Belted beyond.
Of match day 2 in the Ghana Premier League, and Young Apostles drew 0-0 against Nations FC, and Basake Holy Stars also drew 0-0 against Dreams FC, and Brekum Chelsea won 1-0 in their game against Kala United. Bechem United drew 0-0 against Ediana Stars, and has gone by Heart of Lions 1-2-0 against Heart of Oak. And later today, Accra Lions, they will be in action at the Accra Sports Stadium. So these are the matches that were played on match day 2 in the Ghana Premier League. Some of the matches were postponed. The matches involving Shotroman and Kumasi Asante Kotoko, they've been postponed because of Shotroman's engagement in CAF Interclub football and that of Summer.
It's time for us to get into our big conversation. I just want to start by asking you, when was the last time you drank water from your taps? Benjamin Akakpo.
Never. I don't take those risks. You know, things that get into your body, like water, your liver, your kidneys, even your lungs, depending on what happens inside you, could be affected. So I'm extremely careful. And nowadays, once in a while, you may want to do something with sachet water, even the bottled water sometimes. But I stick to, something I can trust. Tap water, drink tap water, Ghana.
It's got to the point where some people don't even boil water from the taps to brew beverages, because when you know that these minerals, which are non-biodegradable, and they're flowing through your taps, and when they get into your body, they're there. But
we're not even talking about the magnesium and the others that are,
and all that.
We're talking about heavy metals and the processes of the Ghana Water Company Limited, which have become much more difficult, which means that while they are expending so much in terms of polymer and all of that to deal with it, there will be traces in our tap water, and which also means that we probably have to relegate the tap water to the basics, maybe washing and all of that. How hard the water will be, that one you cannot say. But to drink it, I don't know.
Well, that sets the pace for the conversation we're about to have. But before that, we'll bring you that documentary and look at the impact of Galamsey on Ghana's rivers and water bodies, and which has only deepened public mistrust in the nation's water systems across the country. Even in the most modest households where water flows from the tap, families are spending a fortune on sachet and bottled water, desperately seeking a safer alternative. But are those who turn to sachet water truly free from the contamination? Features editor Richard Kojo Nyarko explores the growing phenomenon in our latest Hotline documentary, Drinking with Suspicion. Let's take a look, and then we'll get back here for a conversation to put things in perspective. Enjoy.
Imagine a future not too distant, where Ghana, once blessed with abundant natural water resources, is forced to import water just to quench the thirst of its people. The turbidity levels in the rivers have risen beyond the capacity of Ghana's water treatment systems, which now strain under the weight of the contamination. The Ghana Water Company draws up mud at intake points, its once efficient filtration systems overwhelmed by the rising tide of pollution. What was once a simple process of purification has turned into a costly, nearly impossible endeavor. This is the Daboase water treatment plant built in the Western region. This plant supplies part of the Western region with water. But today, the treatment system draws mud to process water for the people. The story at the Setrahiman water treatment plant is even worse. The gold-hungry rush of illegal mining has poisoned our rivers with mercury and other harmful substances, seeping deep into the soil, the water, and the future of the nation. With 14,000 NT and still counting, the water company is spared. As the rivers darken, so too does the health of the people. Medical experts and scientists have warned that in a few short years, cases of cancer, liver diseases, and kidney failure are set to rise dramatically, linked directly to the toxic chemicals from Galamsey seeping into drinking water sources. Children born into a world where playing by the river was once a joy now face the grim reality of lifelong illness.
Usually in the mining areas, they use chemicals like mercury. Sometimes in some places they also use cyanide, but we also see arsenic, so mercury, arsenic, lead. These are heavy metals, and these heavy metals can form a kind of complex, which affect cell activity, cell action, and the toxicity, very, very serious toxic levels.
Professor Kwame Ohene-Boabing, clinical pharmacologist and professor of pharmacy practice at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, shares more light on the effects of heavy metals and other chemicals on the health of people in Ghana.
These heavy metals, they can actually affect activities of the brain, the spinal cord, or we call the central nervous system. I mean, accumulation of some of these heavy metals, in the body can lead to, some form of cancers, which can have very significant impact on the health of the individual who consume some of these, the water which is actually contaminated.
Today, families in Ghana are now forced to buy sachet water for basic needs, an expensive habit that does little to calm their fears, as even the plastic-wrapped water is met with suspicion. My name is Richard Kwadwo Nyarko, and on today's hotline, I explore why you don't drink the water that flows through your tap and patronize sachet and bottled water, and even with that, you drink with suspicion.
Those days that people saw rivers, streams as their gods, they did not venture to destroy them because...
But I guess for most Ghanaians nowadays, if you drank any of our water, you would have some thinking at the back of your head. But to situate the conversation, we have joining us a number of guests from the water resources systems. We have one of those joining us. We have the sachet operators as well joining us to tell their side of the story, in addition to our very own Richard Kwadwo Nyarko, who joins the conversation now. He's going to situate the conversation from the standpoint of the Food and Drugs Authority as well, in respect of what they had to share with him. Richard, good morning.
Good morning, Benjamin.
And I believe that is Mr. Tete. A very good morning to you as well.
Good morning, and good morning to your cherished listeners.
All right. Let's start with Kwadwo Nyarko very quickly. You put together this hotline documentary. I'd like to find out from you, what exactly did you find to be the take of the Food and Drugs Authority generally on this matter?
Well, so this documentary was conceived as a result of the increasing activities of Galamsey. In fact, when I did the Poison Rivers documentary, it emerged that our water treatment systems were suffering, and so something ought to be done. Then it also dawned on me that what about the other sources of drinking water we have in the country? And so when you talk about that, then your mind is adverted to sachet or bottled water. Because in Ghana, either you consume water that is flowing through your tap or the sachet or bottled water. And so that is how come we came about it. And so we had a variety of conversations that included the Food and Drugs Authority. In fact, they situated this particular conversation because they are the regulators. They regulate the quality of water and the food that we take in. And so it was so crucial that we needed to get to them. They explained that a lot of things have been done, a lot of interventions have been put in place to ensure that what you consume in your home or what you buy on the street is actually of good quality. And then when you drink it, no harm will come to you. And so it was on that basis that we spoke with the Food and Drugs Authority. In fact, we spoke with Madam Lovelace Johnson, who explained that, well, I mean, it is not everything that they're able to do 100%. In fact, you may travel to a party where you even live. There may be sachet water production companies that are springing up that do not come under their radar. And so all of these people just escape their radar. And so it behoves you and I to also report them when you see them. In fact, some of them have even taken the certified mark of the Ghana Standards Authority and the Food and Drugs Authority, and then they have embossed it on the sachet water. So you may be in Accra, the popular ones that you do consume, but it is not all of them that have been certified. And so all of these may not pass through the regular filtration systems and then the eagle eyes of the sachet water production company. But then again, you think about the Ghana Water Company. Are they able to treat the water that we drink? They said yes, yes. We are able to treat it. We pass through. We have certified ISO certification and all of that. And Ghana's treatment system is one of the best on the African continent. But why are people not consuming the water that flows through your tap? I know that is one of the poignant questions that you will be wondering, because in your respective homes, I'm not sure the last time that you ever drank water that flowed through your tap. At best, you may use it for washing, for cooking, and all of that. But then the scientists have also told us that Ghana's water treatment system is unable to take out the heavy metals. Indeed. And so it situates the conversation better that why is Galamsey destroying our water bodies? Because in times past, they were doing their mandates by getting the water treated for you, and we had no problems with heavy metals. But now, Galamsey is done at the bellies of our rivers. And so that has brought together all of these conversations.
And Richard, right before you go, that is where I want us to focus. Well, the FDA is saying there are some pockets of sachet water operators that spring up from time to time, and we may not be able to keep tabs on all of them. That in itself is worrying, but you must also realize that our FDA is one of the best on the continent, and it also has its challenges. That is accepted. But when it comes to the Ghana Water Company Limited, listening to the different parties, including Stanley Mate, who speaks for the GWCL, saying that, no, our water is safe and all of that, how do we take it? I saw you drinking some tap water. That was very brave of you. I would struggle to do that. But the point is, when the scientists also tell us, because of the quantum of heavy metals and the quantum of chemicals we must use to treat them, these things flowing through our taps, the water may have exceeding levels. Where do we stand? Which is which? Should we listen to the scientists or pay attention to the Ghana Water Company Limited saying you can literally drink our water?
Well, I go with the scientists and I go with the Ghana Standards Authority, because they were united with the scientists, saying that the Ghana Water Company is unable to treat the heavy metals or take the heavy metals out. And so their mandate ideally is to take care of the pathogens and the other things that come into the water. But with the emerging trends of Galamsey, I'm not sure they're able to take them out. But they say that, well, what they have been, the powers that they have been clothed with, the mandate that they have been given, they're able to treat it. And so you heard Stanley Mate indicating that in his house, he fills bottles of bottles that he has with the Ghana water, because he is there and he knows the processes that the water goes through, and they are able to treat it. So it becomes some difficulty, towing one side or tilting to the other side. And so, Benjamin, that has become an albatross on the neck of all of us, whether we go with the tap, the water that flows through our tap, or with the sachet water. It becomes a very serious headache.
Richard, thank you so much for the work you've been doing. That's our features editor, Richard Kwadwo Nyarko, and he's the brain behind that latest Hotline documentary, Drinking with Suspicion. I don't know how suspicious you are, but I think I'm going to stick to what I do.
Right, so let's bring in Samson Tete, and he's a water resources engineer. Samson, thank you so much for joining the conversation. So in terms of impact of illegal mining activities on our water bodies, that is clear that we have some struggles and challenges there. But from your perspective, I want to hear from you, what measures are in place to ensure that the filtration and treatment processes for tap water are sufficient? Samson, you have to unmute for us. Mr. Tete, are you with us? Mr. Tete, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Great.
I hope you can hear me now.
Yes, loud and clear. Your take now.
Yes. So I was saying that when you look at both sides of the conversation, coming from the FDA, the Ghana Standards Authority, and also the Ghana Water Company, we've seen that, and then the scientists saying that the treatment systems that Ghana Water Company has, and per their mandate, they are not able to deal with the trace metals, the heavy metals in the water. They are also saying they meet ISO standards for water treatment and for quality. So I would say that as a matter of fact, Ghana Water Company does not even serve the entire population of the nation. So granting that, yes, their systems are able to deal with the heavy metals, we still have a chunk of people, a large portion of the population out there that is not being served by Ghana Water Company. We also have the Community Water and Sanitation Agency that serves the rural folks and the small towns, which heavily depends on groundwater availability. And so I want to say that when you look at the menace that the irresponsible mining and illegal mining is causing, I say that because we keep mentioning illegal mining, but then there is also another regime of mining, which is irresponsible mining, which equally is affecting the environment and polluting our water bodies. Now, these trace elements, which are coming as a result of anthropogenic sources, that is human activities, we do have some contamination as a result of what we call geogenic sources, where the interaction between the water bodies and the rocks will cause some of the minerals within the rocks to get into the water. And depending on the amount of those minerals, it may be injurious to human health. Now, having said that, we have a problem, because once these heavy metals leached into the underground water systems, then we have a problem where households that are depending on their own water supply system by drilling boreholes will also begin to have that problem. Are individuals able to afford these treatment systems? And so if you ask me, the solution we need to take is the fact that we have to, in as much as we cannot stop mining, I'm not talking about illegal mining, we have to have proper control measures in place. Because once you're able to deal with the source of the problem, then you have a good solution. Right. But if you are treating other things like the symptoms, the causes after the problem, then you are not dealing with the problem. And I think that is the issue we should be dealing with the source of the problem, which is the pollution that is coming from irresponsible and illegal mining.
Now,
And
the
we
Ghana
need-
Water Company, Mr. Tete, is saying that
Yes.
the water that they are providing is clean and safe for drinking. And Ghana Standards Authority is reiterating that point. But we also heard them say that the dirty water that flows through our taps is not coming from them. You also just mentioned that the Community Water and Sanitation, they take care of the rural areas. So how do we ensure that the water flowing through our taps is either coming from Ghana Water Company Limited or the other sources like the Community Water and Sanitation? And how do we ensure that whatever we are receiving is safe for drinking?
Yeah, so we have regulatory bodies in place. I think so far, apart from the FDA and the GSA, the other regulatory institutions you've not spoken to in this interview. We do have the standards for water. In fact, if you are doing your borehole, you are expected to test for the we have over 23 elements that have been stated by the Ghana Standards Authority that you need to test for. And as a matter of fact, you are supposed to be testing for water that is coming from underground, that is the groundwater, every 6 months, so that you are able to take care of the dry season and then also to take care of the wet season. So throughout the year, you know the kind of quality that you are having, because water quality is not stagnant. The water is moving. And so if you are downstream today, the activities that are happening upstream with time will travel downstream. So if pollution is happening, yes, with time, it will get to your end. And so there is that has to go on. But we move on to a higher level where we talk about water safety planning. So the water safety planning encompasses all these elements, not just testing for water, but then the activities that are happening in the environment also being controlled. There are levels and limits, places you can touch and you cannot touch.
Right.
If you have a borehole, the wellhead needs to be protected. And so is the water safety planning that we need to take seriously, so that all the various elements that contribute to protecting the water is adhered to. Then we can ensure we are having safe and wholesome water from whichever source we are
So,
having.
Mr. Tete, how seriously should we take water filtration in our individual homes? The gentleman talked about KDF 55 and activated carbon, ways of, filtering water in your home just to be safe. How seriously should we be taking this?
Water is life. So, I mean, what you are taking in, I mean, we do have a lot of, the side effect when it comes to health is really serious. And so we really need to take that seriously. But then the question again is, how many people can afford these systems to treat their water? That is why I go back to protecting the source, so that every Ghanaian is having wholesome water in their home to drink. And so that is the issue, because some can afford the treatment systems, others cannot afford, and everybody have to drink water. And this is where government and the regulatory bodies and every one of us comes in, that we need to take responsibility and make sure these irresponsible mining and illegal mining that few people are gaining has to be stopped.
Right. I mean, we already have an idea of what the impacts of long-term use or reliance on these polluted water bodies are, but help us paint the picture in terms of the consequence for communities that solely rely on rivers impacted by Galamsey activities. What are the health risks?
It's I don't know where to start from, because when you take in cyanide, it's suicidal, it's death. So what we are dealing with, we have no idea what we are dealing with, because in the first place, most of these communities don't even know. And people litter boreholes around thinking that, oh yes, it's the surface water which is polluted, but then the underground water is not. But when you look at the hydrologic cycle, these are connected. The surface water gets into the underground water. The groundwater comes into the surface water depending on the time of the season. And so we are not safe once you tamper with one source. And so what it is that the health risks are enormous. Right. I mean, we are going to have issues with liver. We are going to have issues with cancer, because some of these things is going to cause cancer. And these things are on the increase if you look at the statistics now. And so it calls for an immediate action, that nobody, no Ghanaian should be drinking contaminated water. I mean, it's the responsibility of government and all of us to ensure that these things are stopped and we give them potable source of water.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Sampson.
Mr. Tete, stay with us. We'll need to also hear from the Sachet and Packaged Water Group. Magnus Nunu joins the conversation. Magnus, good morning. Mr. Nunu, if you can hear me, please unmute.
Good morning to your listeners.
Great. Thank you for joining. I think you may have missed a few things up to this point. Just to rehash for you. So the Ghana Water Company Limited is saying that a lot of the time people buy sachet water thinking, oh, it is better than the tap water, but that in fact, it is not the case. And that some of you, the sachet water producers, you simply pick from Ghana Water Company Limited, literally out of the tap, bag it and sell it. So I want to start from there. What processes do the members of your association put the water through before it goes on sale in sachet form?
Okay, thank you very much. What we do is that we pick the raw water and process it. And in processing it, we do what we call a physio analysis of the water itself to know what contaminates it. Usually there are what contaminates water fall into three main categories.
Right.
First one being clarity, particles as we see contaminating the water. The second one being pathogens, that is
germs,
microbiology or microorganisms.
Right.
The third being heavy metals. So at the end of the day, if you pick your raw water and you process this water, you must make sure that you have clarity, and then you have taken care of pathogens, and then also heavy metals are not present. Then it becomes potable for the public to drink. Our main source could be boreholes mainly, and then also some of our members also depend on Ghana water. But as you may have heard, or maybe through your documentary, you realize that Ghana water is limited. They are able to just do two. I mean, the colonial masters left a system where they are able to do the clarity and the pathogens. But the third part is left lingering and wandering. And that makes it more appealing.
And the third part you are talking about is heavy metals, dealing with the heavy metals.
So then, the only source that the public and the whole Ghana has today that they can rely on is sachet water or bottled water or both, because we go the extra mile of dealing with the pathogens and the clarity and also tackle heavy metal. Now, if you go to FDA, the basic and the standard method we use in filtration, everybody has to use what we call the reverse osmosis system. That actually takes away everything metal, everything pathogen to a very large extent, and clarity from the water. So as we speak now, the surest way, and you can check, I mean, if your water contains heavy metal, granted that you've done with all it, you will not even get what it is, the FDA number to put your water out there on the market. Are
you saying this can't be faked?
No, I think that the system is quite tight. I mean,
the FDA itself, Mr. Nunu, the FDA itself admits that some spring up, and outside of their regulation, before you realize it, there's this place in some locality that you are not aware of, and they are producing. Some of them are bagging raw, water coming out of the tap, and that is what they are bagging and selling. So this bit about an FDA code and all of that does not really wash, does it?
Well, I think the issue here is the general well-being. What percentage of water we have there on the market are wholesome? I guess perfection is only attainable with God. It's maybe a slight percentage, but I can vouch that in this day and age, largely a lot of the waters that you see there are all certified by FDA, because it's very risky. It is very risky. Recently held this stakeholder meeting with the FDA, and you could be jailed. Somebody was jailed 15 years. I'm speaking on record. You could check. And so then it is very scary to even put anything out there. I mean, you must have the courage to really go. But then the FDA is sharp on that for you to go to jail for producing sachet water.
Mr. Nunu, if you don't know the statistic of how many of these are going through the right processes, then I don't think we can have a conversation about how many are not, because you don't know and I don't know. Even the FDA does not know. So I don't think we can sit here and say by and large, because we don't have the statistics. And in any case, Mr. Nunu, if one person loses his or her life by drinking such water, it is one person too many. So we can't put, you know, and say that by and large, even if it's 97%, those 3%, that's a huge problem.
Can you allow me to just land?
Go ahead.
You know, we are an association, right? And then we also survey the market area. Now, I can bet you, in every corner out there, you have a sachet water producer. And the sachet water producer, before you produce sachet water, your facility must be licensed. We run close to about 5,000 members across the length and breadth of this country. And we supervise and we survey the production area. Our members act as whistleblowers. Grant me, I have sachet water. I produce sachet water. I know what it is. By picking a sachet water, I can just tell whether this one is big or not by the FDA number. I could just pick it, go on. And our members are aware. So we act as the first whistleblowers for the FDA. And so then the surveillance, this thing on the market, on the space, market space, is so serene. I mean, it is so apt. To a very large extent, you cannot. It is so dangerous for you to do that. Somebody will pick you up, a member who is registered, close to you. Because if you are producing sachet water next to somebody who is producing, I mean, you are competitors, and you will make sure that you do the right thing. So we have about between 3,000 to 5,000 members. I mean, surveilling the market space to make sure that what is out there is apt. And like what I was saying is that our system, Ghana water system takes care of clarity and takes care of pathogen. Sachet water and bottled water goes the extra mile. You can check from the FDA of making sure that the water that is put out there doesn't have heavy metal. And if you do have the heavy metal, there's no way, absolutely no way you can get the FDA and Ghana Standard Board certification. So as we speak, I mean, the safest means, I'm not advertising, but that's the truth. Of water, we use reverse osmosis. The Ghana Water Company cannot or may not be able to, use the reverse osmosis system to supply the homes. Now, Ghana Water itself, they package, they are what we call the G water. The water is packaged water produced by Ghana Water. It is in bottles and it's in sachet. That water, I can vouch. They use the reverse osmosis, but they can only put it on the market and commercial like all of us. So to do that, there's a need for you to use the reverse osmosis system, which and I mean all, is a standard for all sachet water and bottled water producers in the country.
Right. Let me just find out from you two quick things. So clarify for me, you are saying that those sachet water producers who have FDA accreditation, their water actually does not contain any heavy metals, but water from the Ghana Water Company Limited does or could contain heavy metals. Is that what you're saying?
I like the saying. I say could. Because of the system that we use, like we all do. I say there are three things. We have gone through the first phase of clarity, second phase of pathogens. But we are the commercial ones are the only ones who go the extra mile to use the reverse osmosis system. And that one takes care of heavy metal. The scientists are there, they can prove what I'm saying. And if you have, of course, before you get the number, you run a test. That includes heavy metals. And you will be given the number and certification only if your water goes through all these three parameters of testing. Clarity, pathogens, and heavy metals. Contract, I rather giving the safest water as we speak now. Now it's so scary. I mean, we appeal to all those who are into this galamsey thing. You are not helping anybody. It's becoming way more expensive for us to even treat our water. I'm adding to the core, the Ghana Water core. It's not easy for us as well. If you are using Ghana Water, or you are using where the turbidity is so high and the figures are so high, these reverse osmosis systems block that easily, and they are irreversible in most times, and they are pretty very expensive. One membrane, the 8040, is going up to about 10,000. Some are using 10, 30, 50, 100 of them. It is extremely, and we ourselves are feeling the pinch. Not only Ghana Water, but we are feeling the pinch. But we don't have an alternative. You cannot change. You cannot go any less than what we have been asked to do. You can't do without the arrow. If it blocks, unfortunately, you have to go by another one and fix it. Otherwise, you are going to have these heavy metals, whether you are in your water, whether you're using borehole or you're using surface water.
Right. In other words, it's also impacting the cost of business for you guys. But my final...
I'm appealing all the authorities and all those, whatever can do, please come to our aid. This Galamsey must stop. Whatever we have to do to get this to stop, it must stop, because we also process water and we are filling the pitch. Our waters, the stability levels are so high. If the heavy metals are so high, then it means that if my RO or reverse osmosis system has go 6 months and I'm using it for 2 months, and it is way so expensive.
Okay.
And with what difficult to pass on the cost that easily. So we are appealing.
Right. The final bit I want to run by you before my colleague comes through with her set of questions has to do with the pathogen test, or the pathogen end of things. So you've spoken about heavy metals and reverse osmosis and what it does. But the pathogens, a research by KNUST has revealed that some of the sachet water, right, contains coliform bacteria. I'm not even talking E. coli, though they are in the same. That is basically fecal matter that has got into water. Is this a possibility based on what you're telling me, sachet water, because the KNUST came through with that research? Or is it that you think these may have been some of the miscreants in the system? Mr. Nunu.
Well, like I said, it's not a watertight situation, right? Like you said, it's not all. Some of them, I don't know the basis. I also have a data from the World WHO, they did on sachet water in Ghana. And it wasn't 100% though, but it's still at 92%. What the USD did was way back in maybe 2022, right? We are in 2024. Things have improved. Of course, in every society, in every organization, I must admit, there are some miscreants. But in our case, over 99% of our water, I can vouch, are clear. Now, if you don't even need to do much, make sure. Sometimes when things become difficult, it's one thing you observe that people just go outside. If you have to dispose of the thing, they try to fix it back where the pores open, and you can have some of these things missing. But then we are talking to our members, and mind you, I have my brand to protect. To protect, and so doing our best. Well, if you put the dirty water out there, of course you stand to lose. Then the consumers tend to do and drink only water that they are conversant with, water like mobile water or standard water. They have been around longest, close to 30 years. These are brands you can trust, And so then, if you go to the market, largely, the public must know, and those even who are producing water, my colleagues must know, there is no shortcut out there. You can't say that, I want to compete and then cut costs, and then I take my memory somewhere, then they blow wash it and I bring it back. It's going to tell on your product. That is why you are not able to sell. Do the right thing.
Right.
Replace when you have to replace. Don't go to try to wash and resuscitate them. Change them when you have to change them. Otherwise, it's very difficult to even get the portion. That's why the big ones are always waiting, because they use the right one, they use the right equipment, they're able to replace them.
Mr. Nunu, Sweetie Abachi, what I find interesting, he says there's no shortcut. Reminds me of Manifest song, No Shortcut to Heaven. And interestingly, in that song, it's Galamsey scenes that you see there. I don't know what your thoughts are on this one.
He says he has a brand to protect. As of July 2023, last year, the Fourth Estate uncovered 144 sachet water companies in Accra producing without FDA licenses.
And this is just Accra.
This is just Accra. So what I want to hear from you is how far do your tentacles reach in terms of the other parts of this country? Sometimes you sit in Accra and you think that everything is happening here as is, but really that's not it. So you yourself have also said that it's expensive to buy these membranes for the reverse osmosis and all that. What monitoring and evaluation systems do you have to ensure that the other parts of this country, I'm talking about Upper West, Volta, Ketu, all the places that are fall under the category of rural areas, you are ensuring that you are actually producing water that has been, what you say is that the Ghana Water Company does the clarification and chlorination, then the other part, which is the reverse osmosis. What monitoring and evaluation systems do you have in place to ensure that all parts of this country, all 16 regions, are following through with these processes that you talk about?
Good. The only thing we can do is to act as whistleblowers for the authorities, the regulators. As if you heard the GSA boss speaking on this documentary. He mentioned that we have this three approach with the FDA, with the GSA, and then with the Sachet Water Association. We are in talks with them first and foremost to harmonize our operations between the GSA and then the FDA, and then we come in. What we're trying to do, we have a proposal with them that, listen, we can do way more than you can do. Now, for you to produce sachet water or bottled water, you need two main certifications. First, your facility must be registered, and then secondly, your product itself must be registered. With your registration, we are in talks with them that, listen, we are an association. We are in all 16 regions, plus all districts in the country we are present. We are very, very visible. Our eyes are everywhere. So we are asking that, we are in touch with them that, listen, this for anybody who has been authorized to produce sachet water and his facility has been certified and registered, has a certificate. We are talking to them that we could have a number plate, right, like we have on our doors. This is a number plate provided by the FDA GSA, and then you place it on your door or your production facility. Our members are being talked to, or we've been discussing this so that we can act as police for the GSA. And so if you see somebody, and even the public can come on board.
Mr. Nunu, in the past 2 years, or just this year, how many of such whistleblowing activities has produced results? How many people have you brought to book because they're producing and selling water without clarifying, chlorinating, and purifying the water with the reverse osmosis? If you say that you are sure that all your members are going according to the books, yet you say the only way you can tell is by whistleblowing or monitoring and ensuring that when you see something, you say something. How much results have you produced with this approach?
Well, it's not zero, but then I can't put a figure to it now.
Then you cannot state with such confidence that your members are actually purifying the water that they're selling. And I'm speaking specifically in terms of the rural areas.
Own interest to make sure. I mean, if I'm producing water and then you are competing with me selling water cheaper than I am, I'll be quick to report to you. And all our members are prepared to come on board. It's only left with the final stages. Of course, we cannot just start. We cannot just start putting our facility license on it. FDA must approve of it. GSA must approve of it, and then the design must be approved on. Once we get a green light, we do. But on our own, we call hotlines. People call our office. We relay it to the SDA. We relay to the FDA.
And you haven't caught anyone yet, right? As we speak, just this year, you have not caught anybody who's producing water that has not been through the processes that you've just outlined, through your monitoring and whistleblowing approach.
A couple of prosecutions and arrests, prosecutions and then even imprisonments out there. I think the FDA will be in a better position to tell you how many people have actually been prosecuted and jailed, and then some are in the process of being prosecuted. I mean, they have the figures they can tell you, but we are playing our part. We are reporting when there's a need for us to report. Once it comes to us, we fire it to the FDA, and they take it over from there.
I'll move on from you in a bit, but please stay with us. Let me find out from Mr. Tete, how prudent or how significant is this reverse osmosis purifying method that Mr. Nunu talks about? Mr. Samson Tete.
Yes, please. Yes, I'm here. Well, it's one of the best systems we have for water treatment. And like I said, that is only if we can guarantee that every sachet producer is actually using that reverse osmosis method. Okay. He has mentioned the fact that it's quite expensive, and that is where the challenge is coming in from. And from what you have also shared, if within Accra alone you have over 144 sachet producers that have not been licensed, it tells you there are more if you get outside of Accra.
Yeah.
And yes, but unfortunately, people have come to trust and believe in the sachet water. I think the Ghana Water Company did talk about that. And so we really need a level of education. As you mentioned, their surveillance method. it is not enough that just the Sachet Producers Association members are doing the whistle blowing. If the education goes on and there is that public awareness, then everybody will act as a security person, because you are also safeguarding your own life, ensuring that you don't have people who are doing things for their monetary gains to the adverse effects of our health in the system.
Right.
Then we can ensure that we are dealing and controlling illegal production of sachet water in the system. And
Mr.
they
Tete,
don't do any treatment. Yes.
A quick interjection. You said something that, the general public, many people seem to trust the sachet water and all of that. Are you suggesting, based on what you know and what we've discussed, that maybe the trust of the general population as far as sachet water is concerned should be measured? Is that what you're saying?
It should be. It should be.
Okay.
It should be. Because, I mean, the evidence is there. You've seen the reports that have come out from, I remember we did some research many years back, so I don't want to refer to that. But if you are talking about 2022, that is quite recent work done by KNUST, and the results are there. So we should have some level of measure. We cannot say that every sachet water is wholesome out there. That is not the truth.
But I find it curious that we cannot quantify the number of people who are actually licensed and who are not. It makes it's like we're just roaming in a worldwide wind. Like, we don't know whose water, which water. And you see, I want us to step away from Accra. Here in Accra, it's easy to tell which the popular brands are, those who are, approved by the FDA and the rest. And in the documentary, the man was saying that when you go to a funeral in your hometown, you do not know for sure if the sachet water or the bottled water you're drinking has been through the processes of clarifying, chlorination, and, this reverse osmosis that we're now talking about. So how do we not have a number to this?
We should have number. We should have the number. FDA should be able to give us the number.
Okay.
Mr. Nunu and his people should be able to look at their data. So I will suggest that if we are looking further into this, we must do detailed inquiry into the kind of data that we have. We should be able to produce the data, because we can't be speaking, I mean, that is not a scientific fact where we don't have the numbers. We should be able to say that these, I did hear Mr. Nunu mention 3,000 to 5,000. So you are giving us a range. But if the people have registered as an association, you should know that, as at September or close of August, we have 5,000 registered members. I don't think this is something that we shouldn't be able to say, because you have a process for registration. Yeah. So we should be able to pull out the facts. Yes, we should have these numbers, and we should be speaking to facts and figures when we are making any claims. That is what will give legitimacy to what we are saying. Without that, we cannot be making such statements. So we should be able to have the facts.
Right.
FDA should be able to tell us how many sachet producers have registered duly with them. The association should be able to tell us how many of them have registered. And if they have FDA certified, what do we call it? This print
number.
On the listing. Yes, we should be able to have the figures. I mean, there shouldn't be any question about why are we not having the figures. They should be able to produce the figures.
We'll come. I see Mr. Nunu is eager to respond. We'll come to you shortly, Mr. Nunu. But staying with Mr. Tete, one of the assertions that Mr. Nunu made was that the water produced by the Ghana Water Company Limited deals with the particles and the pathogens. In other words, particulates and maybe any harmful bacteria or anything else that could be in the water. And then with reverse osmosis, they then go a further step to deal with heavy metals and all of that. But then he says that the water produced by the Ghana Water Company Limited, which is contrary to the assertion of the GWCL, may contain heavy metals. May contain heavy metals. From where you sit, is this correct? Is that factual? Is it that the water produced by the Ghana Water Company Limited may or could contain heavy metals?
You know why I cannot say yes or no? We need to assess what kind of equipment do they have. I mean, I got Mr. Nunu when he said that they also do have a bagged water That is the gin water which is commercialized. That's their commercial arm. And then also, we've also heard other speakers on the documentary saying that they have a mandate which does not include removal of heavy metals from the water. And they are also saying that now they have SIO approved system.
ISO,
does this system, ISO approved system, does this system remove heavy metals from the system? They need to tell us. We need to assess that this equipment that they have, whether they've been designed to do this.
You're referring to the sachet producers, the sachet water producers?
No,
or the Ghana Water
I'm
Company
talking to Ghana Water Company.
Okay.
If they are saying that we need to look at the equipment that they have, whether they have the capability of removing heavy metals from the water, then we can bring a closure to that discussion.
So as we have this conversation, for you don't believe fully that the Ghana Water, company's water is free of heavy metals. That's your position now.
That's my position, because I don't have the proof of the equipment that they have, whether it's able to do that or not.
That's interesting. Mr. Nunu, you've been raring to go. What are your thoughts on some of these, conversations we're having and assertions made by Mr. Tetteh?
Yes, if we have this, I think we are all saying the same thing. The only way you can be assured that the water does not contain these heavy metals is through the use of a reverse osmosis system. That is the ultimate filtration system, and the Ghana Water Company was not designed to use the reverse osmosis system, which is very expensive. That is not to say that other countries, if you go to I've seen documentaries, I've seen pictures of municipal water lines in other countries where they actually use, not in this country, other countries, they use the reverse osmosis system. Ghana Water Company, they probably, through the discussions and dialogues going on, may decide to go that tangent. But then the public, if they do, must be prepared to, buy the bullet, because it comes with a cost. But as I speak, the only way we can guarantee, like you said, that this water does not contain heavy metals is through the use of reverse osmosis system, which is now the basic filtration equipment prescribed by the FDA, and which all sachet water and bottled water companies certified and have the FDA number are using currently.
Thank you so much. We are wrapping up, but I'm just thinking to myself, Benjamin, in terms of immediate steps, we are relying on water, bottled and sachet water, because Ghana Water Company is facing some challenges, and also because of illegal mining activities. And the number of companies listed on this site, Fourth Estate site, it's alarming. And they're right here, operating in broad daylight at Pamwine Junction, close to MTN, at Trade Fair Accra, at Ashaman, in front of the official town, Premier Drop. So is there a way that the FDA, GSA, or some other authorities can clamp down on all the various sites where we are producing these bottled and sachet water, and ensure that if you don't have a license, they close you down, so that for the meantime, the water that we are drinking, in fear of Galamsey activities polluting the one coming from our taps, are not equally doing us the same harm? How do we move on from here?
No, this particular case of the Fourth Estate. I think
is that Mr. Nuno?
Yes, the Nuno on the line speaking. This particular case of accepting 144, I spoke to the issues when the publication came up. And I think that FDA has descended on all of them. Everybody. So once they come up, it's part of the whistleblowing process. So FDA, I know, through us, picked on these companies, and then I think they've dealt with them. But I guess, like I was saying, they will be in the best position to give us the figures as to how many are being prosecuted and how many have been prosecuted. Thank
you so much, Mr. Nunu. And we also spoke to Mr. Samson Tetteh, and he's an engineer at Water Resources. And Water Resources Engineer Samuel Tetteh is the president of the Sachet and Packaged Water Producers in Ghana. But right before we go, the Energy Commission and Ministry of Energy, in collaboration with the Ghana Education Service and Ghana TVET Service, presents the 5th edition of the Energy Commission Senior High School's Renewable Energy Challenge. And this challenge aims to develop the research skills of senior high school students and promote technological innovation in renewable energy. Competing fiercely in this thrilling competition are the following schools: Obuasi Senior High Technical School, St. James Seminary Senior High School, Ola Girls Senior High School, Ahantaman Girls Senior High School, Bando Senior High School, and Dabukba Technical Institute. You want to join us for the grand finale on Tuesday, October 8th, 2024 at the Accra International Conference Center, or you can catch the broadcast live on Joy News at 9 a.m. And this event is proudly sponsored by GIZ, Ashesi University, and French Development Agency, as well as the VRA. Benjamin will bring you some more.
Well, also note that Joy News and an amalgam of professional bodies is organizing a public speaking event on the theme Transformed Individuals Transforming the World, a challenge for the religious community in Ghana. The speakers you can hope to hear from Dr. Philip Engman, Dr. Mrs. Yvonne Yonchua Eseku, and Ambassador Umar Sanda Ahmed, Lieutenant Colonel retired, of course. The main speaker for that, Reverend Dr. Joseph Kofi Entry, and the moderator will be our very own Philip Osaibonsu, host of Ekosi Seng on Asempa FM. The date is the 17th day of September 2024 at 6:30 p.m. The venue is the British Council Hall. If you'd like to seek further information or get further information on this, you can call the number 0244 220 427. 0244 220 427. This event is powered by Joy News and Joy FM. Before we take our breather, Sweetie Abochi, you remember in recent times, just on the back of what Mr. Nunu was saying, Slim Fit. Do you remember the incident?
Yeah.
How many months?
Different.
Exactly. So there's the original one.
And then Slim Fit.
They were both, the original one, which is certified, registered, going through the right processes, and another one very similar that came on the market, and people, so who knows what people drank within that period when the contraband one was on the market. And these are some of the things we are talking about.
You should take, authority should take Ghanaians and citizens seriously, If if we leave some of these things to chance, we will all die, eh? Anyway, we'll take a break and we'll return with more. You're still watching the AM show, but before we get into our next belt of conversation, hello again, Ghana. Your favorite radio stations are back on TuneIn. Joy FM, Love FM, Adom FM, Asempa FM, and Inshira FM. All your beloved multimedia group brands are now back on TuneIn. So wherever you are, we've got you covered. I'm talking about Joy FM, Love FM, Adom FM, Asempa FM, and Inshira FM are all back on TuneIn. So tune in to the best of music, news, sports, and entertainment from Ghana's top stations, anytime, anywhere on TuneIn. Go to the App Store or Google Play Store to download TuneIn and listen to Joy FM, Love FM, Adom FM, Asempa FM, and Inshira FM to stay connected and entertained. Now, let's tell you a story about the surge of teenage pregnancy. Rising teenage pregnancies in Mafiamfoy in the Central Tong district of the Volta region is causing deep concern among community leaders. Edem, 17, and Delight, 18, now mothers of a 6-month-old baby, struggle with poverty and the burden of raising their children. Their path mirrors that of many girls in her village, where early motherhood often traps them in a cycle of hardship. With their education disrupted, they fear returning to school, and because they fear they may remain out of reach. Emmanuel Jivenu has more in this feature.
In this quiet farming village of Mafiamfoy, in the Central Tong district of the Volta region, a growing concern echoes. Just like an unwelcome weed in a fertile soil, teenage pregnancy has got community leaders worried.
Most of the youth now are dropouts. Some because after their GSS, they don't have any other way to do. It is creating a lot of teenage pregnancy in the community. So in fact, it's affecting the community.
Meet 17-year-old mother Edem Agodo. She's currently nursing a 6-month-old baby. This teenage mother stays here with her auntie and grandmother. Life is difficult for the family, and to even afford 1 meal a day is a luxury. This abject poverty forced Edem to accept gifts from young men in the village. Edem recounts how she was lured into having sex with a male friend when he promised to cater for her.
Mafia Foin is primary school classes. Kafi mava for fula moji. Tanana nyaku tatanyo gamolo su wako koznya kwa school. Tamava for fula moji. Ananya hamale je tatanya manon demanmo. Tata sinye va home no jinyo pon. Kafi njuye bi ya balansi. Mava balansi mava have sex. Mava have sex. Mava for much. If that's what school magatan or you know, force every kind of fight to classes, every style Yakbalance, that's not Gava Volley, or be Yakbalance to them. Don't know move plan about force me about your Magala, they have since been off full rights.
The fear of being ostracized by society forces many teenagers to abort the fetus. Edem thought of it, but her auntie talked her out of the idea.
Elizabeth was obey ya denu yenju be mega denu damage ne ya kweli matro isuko
kona mako uchi uboji loji deno jide vioku etomolo ntota ka uchi uboji loji loku akpo de virgina on toli le yimbo le dalaka womo.
Teenage parents, particularly mothers, usually struggle to provide for themselves and their babies. This often leads to a cycle of poverty. Edem and her baby sleep on an empty stomach when her auntie is unable to provide for them.
The view of watching how we Obube ni ayi ntuvio gbo wa koga na yo la be mo podo alakala omo tanabe de view o mo le chichika pele afufom le eduomo na nya be dole na le eduomo le womi nya makala jibe wa ayi ntugbo.
Her education is disrupted because parenting has now taken the front role. Edem fears returning to the classroom may continue to be a mirage.
The film magata in squally magata in water. I'm a lavadi cafe matanga. Never lazozon in cafe matanga.
Adolescents from broken homes or those lacking strong parental guidance may seek emotional support elsewhere, sometimes leading to early and unplanned pregnancies. Also, young people facing challenges such as a lack of stable environment and poverty may be vulnerable to early pregnancy.
Can't see the boys these days. When they do it, they run away. So it becomes a problem for the parents, and it's bringing burden on the parents. So they continue growing poorer and poorer and poorer.
Delight Goka gave birth just after completing senior high school. She felt indebted to a lotto agent who had supported her through school after her mother died.
When I was school, the system is hard for my parents. So my mother stayed at Accra.
but sadly she fell sick. She was the one that is taking care of me. So when she fell sick, my grandmother was not able to look after me. Sometimes we'll peel cassava before we collected the distance and dry before we sell. So across the side, I took a guy that he was also helping me. So he too helped me when I went to the school. He was the one that provided my things. So when I completed and I was pregnant, I decided to give birth.
Delight lives with her grandmother and auntie. To be able to fend for herself and her 6-month-old baby, she helps in the Gary processing business. Delight yearns for a return to school. She's saving money made from other menial jobs to resit some of the WASSCE papers.
Because when I finished, one of my papers is not good. English language is not good for me. So I had to write it back. And my grandmother is not willing, so I'm in the house. And it happened. Financial problem. If not, it will not happen like this because of financial problem. Like if my parents are richer, and along the way I don't even know my father. So it was only my mother throughout. So you know the pressure that she will be having. So it's because of financial problem. This one. By now I'm selling some soapy. I'm packing the distance, the profit. So if time goes on, I'll go back to school again.
A German philanthropist, Mama Nenyo I, is looking at helping young mothers in this community. She is establishing a fashion training center for out-of-school young mothers and aims to strengthen their economic resilience.
Mama Nenyo, now named, said, well, will it be possible if we can start something like a fashion design industry in that community? And I said, yes, we can do it. So through this exchange of ideas, communication here and there, I left Ghana back to Germany, and then we all came out with the idea that grass to grace creative sector should be started in Mafi-Amfoin, meaning from nowhere to somewhere, from ground to top.
The residents are excited about the prospects of the training center and its ability to empower teenage girls.
Let's have a conversation on the back of this. And joining us via Zoom is Thomas Moore Zonua. He's the DCE of Central Tongu. Mr. Moore, thank you for joining the conversation.
Thank you and good morning.
Good morning. So Delight was telling us that in the feature that it's because of financial problem, and I think that sort of mirrors the situation for many of these young girls. But really, I want to hear from you. What do you think is the reason that we are seeing the rise in teenage pregnancy in that district?
Thank you very much. Good morning again to your cherished listeners. Light has said it all, but that's not the only reason why teenage pregnancies on the increase in the district. There are several other factors. Example is some parents are not home. What I mean by not being home is that they are far away in other fishing communities for lack of employment. You know, as usual about the people of Tongu, we like fishing. So they are other districts, other regions doing their work. So they eventually left their children under the care of their grandmothers and their grandparents or other relatives. So parental care is not 100% in that regard. Employment is another issue. And then peer group influence is also another issue. So we have several other factors that are affecting this and sending these girls into.
Mr. Moore, hold for me. Let me also usher in Togbidra Aboitaka the fourth. He's the chief of Mafia for Togbi Wezon. So Mr. Moore was just telling us that teenage pregnancy is on the rise because of peer pressure, lack of parental care, and unemployment. My question to you is, are you aware of this, and what are you doing about it? Togbi, please unmute so we can hear you. Do we have Togbidra Aboitaka the fourth on the line? Togbi, if you can hear me, please unmute so we can hear you. Okay, while we try to reconnect with Togbi, let me go back to Mr. Moore. Ben?
Well, let's get back to Mr. Moore on this bit. So as far as you're concerned, you've heard some of what the ladies have spoken about in Central Tonga about what gets them pregnant. Beyond what we've exposed, what are some of the other underlying issues as you know them? Mr. Moore. Well, it appears we've lost Mr. Moore, so we have Togbidra Aboitaka the fourth back. Togbi, can you hear us now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
All right. I believe Sweetie was trying to find out, from where you sit, being chief of Mafia Mfoe, what do you know about some of these happenings when it comes to teenage pregnancy in your community?
Yeah, thank you so much. It is true that most of these teenage pregnancy is caused by unemployment, job unavailability in the community. You know, most of the children, especially the girls, when they get to the school, the parents are jobless, they don't have anywhere to do. So they easily being convinced by these young men, and after they sleep with them, they got pregnant, and they ran away from them. So actually, the teenage pregnancy is a problem to myself and my stepfather and the others of the community.
Togbi, but I mean, what measures are in place to ensure that these young men, whether young or old, we do not know for sure, who impregnate these teenage girls are also brought to book?
Yes, we normally liaise with this assembly and other government organizations, you know, to trace these people, especially the Compassion is an NGO working in the community. At times we get some of them, bring them to book, and they do a little. Since there is no job, somewhere along the line, the other run away, we don't see them again, and it's creating a whole lot of problem in the community.
Let me go back to Mr. Moore. Mr. Moore, the health implications of teenage pregnancy cannot be overemphasized. Do you have adequate facilities in Mafia Mfoe to ensure that these girls get the care that they need?
Yes, we have. I can tell you for sure we have actually established a chief compound there, and then we constructed a special ward for or maternity ward, and they are taking good care of teenage girls who are pregnant. Honestly speaking, we have actually assigned a midwife for them. We spoke with the health director, and the midwife has an assigned for their care during the antenatal care service. So I can be sure of the fact that they are being taken care of.
So the problem, as we know it, is the rising number of these cases. In terms of preventive measures, is there any activity to educate these young girls on the importance of protecting themselves, at least, or ensure, you know, educates them well enough that they're not just getting pregnant and the numbers keep increasing?
Yeah, we as an assembly, we are doing so much. We have already engaged all Queen let me put it this way, keen mothers in the whole district to actually go from schools to school to educate them. We have also formed teenage girls clubs in some communities, especially those communities that are very high on our scale or ranking. So far, Old Bakwa is leading, followed by Abedu, Ufieji, and others. We have started forming girl clubs in those schools that at least at their leisure time, we can, a resource person can go to them and educate them to, prevent teenage pregnancy.
But these measures aren't working, are they? Because if they were, we wouldn't be seeing the rising, number in cases.
Yeah, now that we are doing so, the percentage has decreased. Initially, we were around between 18 and 16%. Now we are reduced to 14.5% as of this year. So the number keeps decreasing as you go along. With the education we are doing now, we are seeing a change in behavior and then a change in the number of teenage pregnant.
Right. Thank you so much, Mr. Thomas Moore. That's the DCE of Central Tongu. And we also joined by Togbidra Abwetaka IV. He's the chief of Mafianfoy. Gentlemen, thank you so much. And on that note, let's take a quick break. We'll be back with more. You're still watching the AM show. In our final conversation for the day, we focus on the crucial role of fisheries in Ghana's economy ahead of the 2024 general election. Now, the sector generates about $1 billion annually and employs roughly 10% of the population. However, challenges like declining fish stock, illegal fishing practices, and pollution are threatening the livelihoods of many. The Ghana Fisheries Recovery Activity and the University of Cape Coast Center for Coastal Management are spearheading a dialogue, bringing together key political parties to discuss their strategies for addressing these issues. Stay with me. Let's get into the conversation with Professor Dennis Wolanyu Ahato. He's director at the Center for Coastal Management, Africa Center of Excellence in Coastal Resilience at the University of Cape Coast. We also have Mr. Kofi Agbuga, and he's director for HEN Mpoano. Gentlemen, welcome to the program.
Thank you, sweetie.
Now, this significant dialogue that you're going to organize is to bring various stakeholders together to discuss the nitty-gritty of the fisheries industry, correct? So let's talk about it. What's really the objectives that you hope to achieve at the end of this dialogue? I'll start with you, Mr. Wolanyu Agbuga. Ahato.
Dennis.
Yes,
yeah.
Dennis Ahato.
Yeah, sweetie, thank you for the opportunity to be on your platform. Yeah, so the fisheries sector, as you've already noted, is a very significant sector for Ghana's economy. Not just the fact that it provides fish for the table, but also is a very important economic commodity. Statistics have shown that significantly it brings in, it employs about 10% of Ghanaian population, which is quite significant. So if the sector begins to have challenges through the issues to do with IUU illegal fishing, unreported, undocumented fishing, there's also the fact that climate change is also impacting the sector in many ways, pollution.
Yeah.
And so we envision at our center that there is the need to get some political commitment into the issues, particularly interrogating the manifestos and to what extent they envision addressing these challenges.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mr. Agbuga, do you think these issues will influence voter choice in the elections?
Well,
and how so?
I would say yes and no. It depends on...
Especially fisher folk.
Yeah, it depends on how aware they are about the issues and what policy options the political parties are providing. It is for this reason that we want to bring these parties to the table and then ask them a few questions to tell us their policy direction and how they intend to improve governance of the sector.
Okay.
Over the last many years, yes, we from where we sit think that the fisheries deserve better than fisher folk are getting now. And it is for that reason that we have to work closely with all stakeholders to ensure that everybody is in line as far as improving fisheries governance in the country is concerned.
Which political parties will be present for this dialogue?
Well, we're having the major political parties.
Okay.
And,
they've all confirmed?
Yeah, they've confirmed at least CPP, NDC, MPP, and PNC have all confirmed. And we are hoping to meet them tomorrow evening to interrogate the issue.
So it's happening tomorrow evening?
It's happening tomorrow. It's happening at the AMA City Hall, downtown Accra. It starts at 6 o'clock. We hope to end by 9. It's going to be live on your platform, Joy News, but we're also hoping that other media houses are going to come. We want to use this platform to invite Ghanaians. It's free and open to the public. And of course, we're also going to have some online presence as well. So we really think that it's a crucial moment for us to discuss Ghana's fisheries. And we invite all Ghanaians to have an interest in the program.
Mr. Agboga, you have the final word. Take us home.
Well, the fisheries sector is a very important sector. It is the reason why a number of civil society organizations are putting their energies to ensure we reverse the poverty that has been occasioned by all the bad fishing practices, the decline in the fisheries, and so forth. So once we are putting effort in there, we want the government or those who intend to lead us in that sector to be able to tell us what they will be doing, and we will be holding them accountable to all that they have said during these debates. So we'll be monitoring and marking them as we go along.
That there's Mr. Kofi Agboga, Director for HEN Mpoano, and we're also joined by Professor Dennis Bolanyo Aheto, and he's Director for the Center for Coastal Management, Africa Center of Excellence in Coastal Resilience at the University of Cape Coast. And folks, that's how we're wrapping up the AM show for today. Thank you so much. Joy News Desk is up next. It's bye for now.